Hello, world. We have Matt Rohrs here with us today. Do you mind telling me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm 39 years old and a Southern California native. I'm a high school music teacher and I teach instrumental music, so marching band, orchestra, two jazz bands, guitar
Awesome.
class, lots of good times.
Awesome stuff. Yeah. Do you have any like favorite artists? Any genres?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot. So I'm a jazz saxophonist and a classical clarinetist. Like I said, I teach guitar class. I didn't actually teach that till I got hired, and so guitar has really opened up for me in the last 15 years
Okay.
too. So I have so many favorites, and it kind of just depends on the mood. Sometimes I'm
Okay.
into jazz, sometimes I want classical, sometimes I want country or rock, and it changes throughout the day.
And the fact that you have all those like a day, you get your daily dose of each kind of genre. So I don't know.
It's super
That's really
cool.
nice.
Like people always ask, like, "What's your favorite instrument?" And it's what time is it? You know.
Yeah.
So
What time
so
is it?
and the nice thing about being able to play so many instruments is you have like kind of instruments that are really suited to the genre.
Mm-hmm.
When I just played clarinet and I wanted to get into jazz, I picked up saxophone because trying to play, I mean, in the big bands, there's not a ton of music,
100%.
and so it's been really nice to be able to just grab the right instrument for the job, and it's been
Yeah.
fun.
That's
And
right.
then same thing picking up guitar. As I grew up a jazz player and a classical player, pop music is pretty inaccessible on a
100%.
clarinet. Like
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of like clarinet songs on K Rock right now,
Yes.
and so it was really cool to suddenly have new fields of music open up
Yeah.
to you that you can
That's
play.
right.
It's nice.
That was actually my next question. What instruments do you play? Saxophone.
So my primary are woodwinds,
Woodwinds.
saxophones, and clarinet, and then everything else is a secondary or tertiary instrument.
I
So
see.
like
Yeah.
guitar, piano, flute, all that stuff is kind of possible, but
Yeah.
definitely am a
100%.
woodwind guy first and foremost.
Yeah.
So
Would you mind like telling us a little bit about the selections today? We got Days of Wine and Roses and Castaways. Like
yeah, so those are
anything?
kind of
Yeah.
interesting because they're kind of like bookends. Like the Days of Wine and Roses, I first heard that tune when I was in college,
Okay.
and I was taking a jazz improv class with Chuck Tumlinson.
Okay.
And it
Shout
wasn't
out to
required
him.
for music ed majors, but I like jazz, and I figured the more training I can get, the better it's going to be down the road.
Yeah.
And so this is a tune that I hadn't really heard until then, and I've loved it ever since then. I was like, I love the progression. It's very playable.
You said it's very easy underneath.
Oh
your
yeah, it's a
fingers.
great key. It's F, so that's G for tenor sax, and
Okay.
it just
That's
lays really well. They're both in F.
100%.
And then Castaways, I hadn't heard it till I don't know 2-3 months ago,
Okay.
and then it popped up in an Adam Neely video, and
Yes.
it's just a really catchy tune. So I'd like some old, something new, like kind
100%.
of
Yeah.
bookends so far.
That's right. And it's a great selection. So
Yeah,
yeah. Do you do anything aside from music, like on your free time?
yeah. I'm a man of many hobbies, and
Yes.
so Roars Outdoors on YouTube. But anything outdoors is pretty much my passion besides
Awesome.
music.
Yeah.
And so I've got two kids, and we're out there now all the time together. That's something that was relatively recent because they're 6 and 8. And so if you go back a year or two ago, they really couldn't get out as much with me. And this last summer, we got to spend like every day together going out into the woods or going out on the boat fishing. And so that's kind of been really cool to fuse family and my passion for the outdoors.
So from here on out, it's just gonna get better.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Hopefully no
talking about
mountain
those-
lions.
Yeah, we were talking about mountain lions. You got to watch out for those. So,
Yeah. 100%.
but besides that, hopefully, it's going to be
yeah.
exciting.
So you talked about fusing family and like the outdoors together. Would you ever fuse outdoors and music together? Or
Oh, I've thought about it a lot.
bringing a guitar is probably as far as.
No. Like one of my big plans is at some point I want to take one of our groups, preferably the band or the orchestra, or
Okay.
both, to Yosemite.
Oh,
and I have like a
wow.
whole set list of outdoor music that we could play in the amphitheater there, like Outdoor Overture by Copeland.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's this
Yeah.
big. Okay.
Yeah, no, Yosemite's always been a really special place
Yeah.
for my family. And when I was there the last time, I was like, this would be a super hip like concert to give outdoors, playing American music, Copeland outdoor music. And then I think it'd be a really cool experience
Yeah,
to take one of my
traditional,
groups
yeah.
out there because I don't think a lot of them get to be outdoors. And it'd be really cool to share that experience with them. So I
100%.
mean, I've got a million ideas. I'm kind of a planner, and I tend to scheme and think about these wild things, and sometimes they work out, and
But yes,
sometimes they don't.
yeah.
So-
and sometimes it just takes time. So it's good that you have those those two escapes. You have the outdoors, you have music, and I don't know. It's good that you're considering stuff for the future. Like with that said, do you have any plans for the future, whether that be music, whether that be your life or anything like that?
Like I said, I'm a planner, so I've got a
Nice.
million different schemes, and like I said, some of them will happen, some of them won't. But you know, just always kind of thinking of the next big thing. So this summer I'm finishing up my master's, and that'll be nice to kind of put that one away and be done with that. I don't think I'm going to get a doctorate, and so it'll be nice to finally finish school before I'm 40. That's always cool. So
no more schooling, but that's awesome, Mr.
Yeah.
Rose. That's awesome. Masters is always something great to go after.
It's been really cool. I met a lot of great people through the program and just learning a lot about music and kind of filling in holes that I kind of understood but not really deeply, and just getting able to go back and really cement the knowledge has been nice.
100%.
So,
Yeah, that's right. So with you saying meeting great people, you're obviously a great person, and if you have any advice for any aspiring musicians out there, it's the time to give it.
Hey, you know, I talk a lot to high school age students, musicians, because that's what I do for a living, and they're always kind of stuck at a place usually when they're seniors of like trying to look into the future and think like, what do I want to do with music? And I think there's a lot of ways to approach that. You know, music can be just a hobby, and it's a fantastic hobby. I think it's a huge part of like the human experience. I don't understand people who don't enjoy music. It's like eating to me. Like you got to do it every day. So it can be a hobby. It can also be a great career. And it's, you kind of want to just leave it open in some ways and kind of see what happens. You know, I was talking with my dad yesterday. We drove out to the desert, and we had 5 hours in the car together. And he was asking, when did you know music was for you? And it was really towards the end of high school. And it's just something I kind of had this feeling and took a bet on, and it's been wonderful. So I think that kind of rambled. But I would just say keep your options open, and at the same time, try to go towards something that you're drawn towards. You know, the cliche about if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. That's nonsense. But it makes work a whole lot easier if you like what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so
nothing is absolute, so it's a fact that we stay realistic. But I'm glad it's worked out for you, Mr. Rohrs.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
It's good. Yeah.
So
100%, yeah.
I thought you were gonna try to stun me with some of these questions. These have all been like softballs. So
really?
Yeah, dude.
We can get deep.
I thought we were gonna get deep in the nitty gritty, like
there's a reason.
Yeah, like mysteries of life. These are like why music. Well, yeah.
What's your stance on?
Yeah.
But actually, since we're talking about that, is there a reason why you got into it? Is there anything?
My two passions that I thought I was going to work in, one was either going to be teaching history or teaching music. And I could have tossed a coin, and my senior project in high school ended up being on music education with my former teacher and future mentor, and it was awesome, and I knew that, okay, this is going to be it. But I am so thankful that I went that route and not history, because one, just the nature of, I teach an elective. So everybody in my classroom at some point chose to be there, or their mothers chose for them. But like,
they got out of PE.
They have some degree of agency, which I think is really important. Yeah. And when I step into some other classrooms, you get this vibe of like, most of them don't want to be here, but you don't have a choice. So I think that's part of the joy of what I get to do, and interacting with the people I get to do, is that they want to be there at some level. And that makes it, you know, a whole lot more enjoyable for all of us. So.
And like you mentioned earlier, like when someone is interested in music, it's okay for it to be a hobby, you know? At least I really hope people have a connection with it, at least, you know? Just give it a chance.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know if I've ever met anybody who didn't like music.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're out there. But I mean, even at some level, they all have some kind of music they want to listen to. Yeah. They have a memory associated with music. You know, they have a music that gets them excited. Yeah. And so it's a wonderful thing to be able to share with people. Mm-hmm. And I love, you know, again, being an educator, a teacher, is you get to find what makes them interested and gets them excited, and then help them get more proficient and better at it. 100%. So like, you know, with you, for instance, there's been areas of musical interest I can see that you're really into, and it's been really nice to just kind of help open those up and explain. things that maybe you don't understand about it, and then see what you do next. It's one of the joys of teaching.
I appreciate for you being that gateway for me.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And talking about being an educator, is there any like best things about your job and hardest things about your job?
The people.
The people, and that would be the best or hardest?
That would be both the best and the worst.
Okay.
And like I said, my goal here is to retain employment. So we're gonna be real choosy here about what we say. I mean,
no names.
So the worst thing and the best thing is because that's what I think for most teachers. It ultimately, the subject is one thing, and we all have a passion for our subject, and that's what kind of gets you into the business. But the people are what sort of drive your daily energy and make it worthwhile, right? Is working with students, and I particularly love the high school age students because the next stop is the real world, right? And so you get these pretty much fully formed people that are ready to go out there and do incredible things, and you get to see them grow and see them finally kind of develop into adults. It's really fun. With my ensembles, I get most of the students when they're freshmen, and most of them stick around until when they're seniors. And to watch the transformation of basically a middle school kid into an adult going off into the real world is really cool.
That's awesome.
And especially like a lot of times, you're talking about the bad aspects. A lot of times, they're just not very mature when they come in, or they have some of these kind of rough edges that have not really been smoothed out. And you get to watch that over the next couple of years as they kind of work on themselves and they mature and they become better versions of themselves. Yeah. And I try to remember that, like when you have a student who's having a real rough day, and maybe they've screwed up or they just made some bad calls, you try to tell yourself that this is a long game. And so you're always trying to teach them, what can we learn from this? What can you do going forward? So
there's time.
Yeah, it's time, right? It's high school, and it's the chance to learn from mistakes and learn stuff so that you have a successful life. And it's awesome. So
any plans for the future? Hopefully when retirement comes.
If you're offering, no, I mean, it's so far away right now, at least 20 years, I would assume.
Really? Okay.
So with the way our school district's set up, I think right now the age is 61.5. So it's hard to look into the future. 21.5 years.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I think we'll just leave that out there. But it's a wonderful job, and it's been really good. I wake up most days, can't waiting to go to work. It's great. I love it. So there are obviously rough days, and there are things that you wish you could change and all that, but overall, I wouldn't change a thing about music 100%. Education.
It's all about taking it 1 day, 1 week, 1 year.
Yeah, no, I mean, so another aspect that I really like about my particular job is that I get to create things with the students, with the other people, right? And so it's this collaboration every single day in the ensembles. And sure, you're the director and you're kind of driving things, but you're reacting off of the personalities and inputs of all these other people. And so that's really exciting. It's also completely unpredictable. You have a plan of like what you think is going to happen in a performance or a rehearsal, and then you get in there and the plans don't last very long. And so then you're playing and everyone's on the same team, which is really cool too. I think sometimes in certain education classes, there can almost be an adversarial setup. Like you have on one side the students, on the other side the teacher, and they're being graded, and they're sure you're trying to teach them, but they're being assessed. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's a teacher at Cal State somewhere, and they were actually being reprimanded that their grades were too high, and you need to lower those grades, and a couple more C's and a couple essays, and I'm like, we don't necessarily have that set up in the ensembles, right? We're all on the same team, and actually we sink or swim together, right? Like if they go out there and bomb a performance, I'm right there with them on the stage, and so it sets it up to be a much more positive experience. I think a much more enjoyable experience, and like we're all on the same page. So
and a much more accountable experience. So
yeah,
it's on everybody.
When you perform live in front of people, there's not a whole lot of fudging the numbers there.
Not a lot of room for error.
Yeah, we always talk about like, some of the shows you're playing for friends and family, and those are always really fun. And it's generally like pretty forgiving audience, and the parents are there, and that's my baby.
Yeah.
But when some of the shows you're doing in front of strangers, and they don't care.
Yeah.
So it definitely keeps you honest and keeps you accountable and like focused on. We have standards we have to maintain.
100%.
So.
And you mentioned like our job is to transport people. So
yeah.
Regardless of what that person is, we gotta strike him in the target. We gotta deliver. We gotta.
You gotta right.
Yeah.
Like nobody likes bad music, right? And
yeah.
nobody enjoys that feeling of being in a bad performance.
Yeah.
And you keep checking your phone and your watch and like, is this over? Yeah. So it's fun. It's challenging.
Yeah. So we just gotta do our best to provide that for people and for ourselves. So yeah. But other than that, do you have anything else to say, Mr. Rohrs?
I'm a talker, man. I could talk all day.
Don't do drugs.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, don't do drugs. That's always my close out in most lessons with that line. Don't do drugs. Watch out for mountain lions. That's another solid plan for life.
100%.
I think a lot of times in today's world, like we live in kind of a disposable society. And I see increasingly with young people this kind of like they treat people as disposable and kind of like don't think about long-term relationships with each other. I would say treat people the way you want to be treated, right? The golden rule, like value people and really invest in them and realize that you're going to be around a lot of these people your entire life. And so treat them well, treat them with respect. Treat them with kindness. And the other thing, I would say find a tribe. One of the biggest things I've seen in my 15 years teaching is just the value of these ensembles and giving people a place to belong, where they contribute something and they actually matter. I think a big challenge for young people, especially coming out of the lockdowns and the pandemic, is we basically locked them in their rooms where they did not matter a whole lot. And so then you see all these issues that come out of that where they just don't have a great self-esteem. They don't have a sense of belonging. They're kind of drifting through life. So I would say find a tribe of people that share similar interests and similar values and similar beliefs and contribute and find meaning in that. And that's I think essentially what drives me every day to get up is this sense of I have these people that I belong to and that we matter to each other and I have something worth giving to them.
That's beautiful. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, Matt
See,
Rohrs,
aren't you glad I thought for 30 seconds there?
Yeah, that's right. Glad we did because that was a great response.
Yeah.
But, Matt Rohrs, everybody. Thank you very
Rohrs.
much. Thank you.